Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today I'd like to talk about polygons. Now, the figures I've drawn over here, these are all examples of polygons. I'm sure you've seen something like this before. Here I tried to draw a parallelogram. This, of course, is a triangle. This looks like a trapezoid, and this is a five-sided figure, a pentagon of some sorts. So these are all examples of polygons. Now I'm going to try to draw another figure over here, the best I can. Here we go. Here we go. Like something like this. Now this is a very different looking figure, right? So, and this too, in fact, is a polygon. So now, you wonder then, what exactly defines a polygon and what is not a polygon, correct? So today, inshallah, we shall try to define and characterize some key properties of polygons. The first thing that we need to appreciate is that polygons are two-dimensional geometric figures. So we can say these are like two-dimensional, or another way of saying the same thing, that these are plane geometric figures. In other words, they lie in a plane. So these are two-dimensional or plane geometric figures, G-O-M-E-T-R-I-C, geometric figures. Okay, so these are not like three-dimensional pictures, etc., etc. So polygons are two-dimensional or plane geometric figures. That's the first basic thing that we need to understand about polygons. And one more very important thing, and that is here I'm going to draw for you a basic polygon that we have seen. This is quadrilateral, some sort of four-sided polygon, and so that we understand some of the terms, there's like a corner over here, and like this, and these corners, these are called, this is a vertex, that's a singular, and vertices for plural. So the plural of vertex is vertices. So a polygon, it has vertex and vertices, plural, and it has sides. So this is a side, and this is a side. So it has sides and it has vertices. So vertices like are corners, and sides like this. Okay, those are the two basic terms that we have to understand about polygons. Okay, so one very important thing, or the first thing that we have to understand about polygons, is that they are closed figures. So let's write this down. They are closed figures. Okay, what does that mean? It means that a polygon can't be like this, like that. It can't like have a missing side. It can't be open like this. Okay, it has to be a closed figure. So open figures like this, they cannot be polygons. So a polygon, it has to be a closed figure. So far we have excluded this as a possibility for a polygon. So a polygon, no matter how it looks, it has to have all sides that are closed. So that too is not a polygon. So all sides have to touch each other. Okay, that's first very important rule. The second thing that we have to appreciate about polygons is that sides of polygons are segments. Okay, so this is very, very important. So that is, you can't have a polygon like this. So here's one side, here's the second side, here's a third side, let's put it this way, and I'm going to make a fourth side. I'm going to make the fourth side slightly different, and that's like a little curve over here. So you can't have like curvy segments or curvy sides to a polygon. So a polygon must have sides as its segments. So the sides are all made of segments of which have endpoints, of course, except every segment has two endpoints. So that's the second very important thing. So far we have learned that polygons are two-dimensional figures that are two-dimensional plane geometric figures that are closed, and whose sides are composed of segments. It can't have like funky looking sides that are not made of segments. Okay, not only do the sides have to be segments, but they have to kind of fulfill two very important criteria. The first criteria is this. So all the sides have to be segments, and they have to fulfill the criteria that this particular figure does not satisfy. Now there are two triangles over here. You can say that a triangle is a polygon, right? But But no, we're talking about this entire figure over here. This whole figure is not a polygon. The reason for that is the sides of a polygon here. I'm going to trace out this side. This is the yellow side. And I'm going to trace out this side. This is the red side. They cannot intersect like this. So the sides cannot intersect. So the sides have to be segment, and also they cannot intersect each other like this. Now technically you have to understand that sides do intersect at the endpoint. So this yellow side and this blue side, they technically intersect. Intersect means to touch each other, and they touch each other at the endpoints. That's cool, that's okay. They can obviously otherwise they would not be closed, right? So they have to touch each other at the endpoints, but other than the endpoints, they cannot intersect each other like this. They cannot crisscross like this. So this way, like star, for example, it's not a polygon because that's like the ultimate intersection of the sides, right? You know what I'm saying? So they cannot intersect each other. So one very important property of a polygon is that the sides are made of segments, and these segments, they do not intersect. Okay? Except, of course, as we said, at endpoint, except at endpoints. Okay, so polygons, so far we have established there are two-dimensional plane figures, two-dimensional plane geometric figures that are closed, whose sides are made of segments, and these segments, they do not intersect each other. They don't crisscross each other, except, of course, at the endpoint. They have to meet at the endpoint, otherwise the figure would not be closed. And there's a second, more subtle property of a polygon that we have to understand about the sides. So I'm going to draw another figure that is not a polygon, and kind of looks like one, but it's not going to be one. So here it is. So in this case, just to highlight a point, I'm going to label the vertices of this polygon. Here we go. And let's call this A and B and C, D, and E. So now this is not a four-sided figure according to the way it is drawn. If somebody says polygon A, B, C, D, E, they're trying to tell you that this is a five-sided polygon where this and this is actually two separate sides, okay? Even though they're like in the same line over here, okay? So this in fact would not be correct. You cannot have a polygon like this. Why? Because the sides cannot be collinear. So that's a very important property of a polygon. That is, these sides that are segments, they do not intersect each other, and they are the sides are not collinear. Okay? So on the other hand, if I were to draw another polygon over here like this, okay, let me draw this over here. Now this particular one, this one, looks very similar to this one, and the second figure I drew here, this one over here, now this is a polygon because nobody's claiming that this is a five-sided polygon. This is a four-sided polygon, and that's okay because that's four-sided polygon. But the point being is that the sides, if you're claiming this to be a separate side from this, they cannot be collinear. The sides have the sides. Now, even if you were to like move this tiny bit up like this, you know, instead of having like this, you can have a polygon just like this. That's okay. But the sides have to be, they cannot belong to the same line. Now, you must understand, in this particular segment, in each of these segments, there are infinite number of points in between. But nobody's claiming that those points are vertices of a polygon. Those are points that are on the sides of the polygon. But if you claim a certain point to be a vertex of a polygon, that vertex cannot be collinear with the other two vertices. This, in other words, the sides cannot be collinear. So sides of a this is a more subtle point that I hope you appreciate. The sides are segments. They do not intersect except at the endpoints. Also, the sides are not collinear like here. Okay, so this looks very much like this. If somebody were to give up the fact that E is a vertex and so, you know, I made a mistake, that's just nothing over there. Okay, then maybe it's a polygon. You know, then it's a polygon if that's not a vertex. So that's a very important characteristics of a polygon. Okay, now I'm going to draw another figure that is not a polygon. Okay, so here it is. Now this is a polygon. It's a four-sided figure so far, but I'm not done yet. Okay, so just hold on. So here's another thing. Oh, now we have a problem here. Now this is a triangle over here. Okay, it by itself is a polygon. That's okay. Triangle's a polygon, and this is like a four-sided figure. That's also a polygon over here. But this whole thing, all of this together, is not a polygon. It does not satisfy the criterion of a polygon. Okay, so let's label some of these sides. Some of these vertices: A, B, C, D, E. Okay, the reason this is not a polygon is because every vertex of a polygon must be common only to two sides. Every vertex must be common only to two sides. In other words, this vertex belongs to this side and this side and this side. That's three sides it belongs to. Another way of saying the same thing is you cannot have more than two sides coming out of a vertex. So you can have a polygon. Somebody say, oh, this is a polygon. I got a nice polygon for you. That would not be a polygon if this is all coming from the same vertex, because this vertex is common to multiple segments over here. So in a polygon, every vertex must belong to or be a part of at most only two sides. Okay. So here's rule number 3. Each vertex, okay, each vertex, and I'm going to say is part of, okay, is common to. We can say more fancy. Each vertex is common to, okay, I mean belongs to, is common to only two sides. Okay, so here this vertex is common to this side, and this side, and therefore it is not a polygon. Okay, now polygons are named very easily, so you can just here you can say polygon, just trace out the polygon with each vertice. So here polygon ADE, that's cool. Another name for polygon ADE is a triangle, and you can say polygon ABCD, ABCD, that's this polygon over here, and that's true, that's a polygon. But this whole thing is not a polygon because it does not satisfy this third very important criteria of a polygon. Okay, so let's put this into action here. Let's see if we can figure out. All of these here are polygons because, as you'll see, these are of course two-dimensional figures that are closed. None of them are open. All the sides are segments, and none of them intersect, and none of the sides are collinear, and each vertex is common to only two sides. Okay, that's cool. So these are all polygons on the top. The bottom figures are not polygons. This one over here is not a polygon because this one side is a curved side. You can't have like curves or funky sides for polygons. Now this one is not a polygon because here the sides intersect each other. They can't intersect each other except at the endpoints. So the sides cannot crisscross each other, so that's not a polygon. Okay, so sides of segments, they do not intersect, and they're not collinear. Okay, now this one is not a polygon because it's actually, one, because it's open. A polygon has to be closed. And second, the sides actually crisscross. They intersect each other over here like this. So that's not a polygon for more than one reason here. Now this one is not a polygon also simply because it's open over here. And that's very important. So this is a basic definition of a polygon. And inshallah, next time we shall elaborate on this. Until then, As-salatu was-salamu ala rasulillah walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, so let's put this into action here. Let's see if we can figure out. All of these here are polygons because, as you will see, these are of course two-dimensional figures that are closed. None of them are open. All the sides are segments, and none of them intersect, and none of the sides are collinear, and each vertex is common to only two sides. Okay, that's cool. So these are all polygons on the top. these bottom figures are not polygons. This one over here is not a polygon because this one side is a curved side. You can't have like curves or funky sides for polygons. Now this one is not a polygon because here the sides intersect each other. They can't intersect each other except at the endpoint. So the sides cannot crisscross each other, so that's not a polygon. Okay, so sides of segments, they do not intersect, and they're not collinear. Okay, now this one is not a polygon because it's actually, one, because it's open. Polygon has to be closed. And second, the sides actually crisscross, they intersect each other over here like this. So that's not a polygon for more than one reason here. Now this one is not a polygon also simply because it's open over here. And that's very important. So this is a basic definition of a polygon, and inshallah next time we shall elaborate on this. Until then, الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم.